and welcome back to Most Amazing, the most amazing channel in the whole wide world. I said it. I'm your host Rebecca Felgate, and today we're talking about the top 10 unluckiest people of all time. But if you guys fancy being super lucky today, why not head on over to our Instagram and follow us for pictures, prizes, and giveaways in the future. Hooray! Okay, back to the unlucky people. Here they are. Coming in at number 10, we have a man bitten on the penis by a deadly spider. Twice. 21-year-old Australian builder Jordan was bitten on his penis by a deadly poisonous redback spider whilst using the toilet. The bite caused his manhood to swell as one of the symptoms he suffered from the bite. These things take time to recover from. However, when he was back and able to work again, he used the portable toilet on his site, and then he was bitten again, almost in the very same place. This has got to hurt because, poof, ow. His stint of bad luck earned him the unofficial title of the unluckiest man in Australia. Coming in at number 9, meet Britain's unluckiest man. If that sounds like a Daily Mail headline, it's because he has been the focus of many national tabloids discussing his ill fortune. They say a cat has 9 lives, but John Lyne seems to have the lives of 2 cats. The British man is in his 60s, and during his time he's been in over 17 accidents. He has been struck by lightning, run over by a van and a bus. He was hit in the face by a catapulted rock which smashed out 8 of his teeth. He nearly drowned. He fell down a manhole, damaging his legs and back. He drank bleach as a child, and he fell out of a tree and broke his arm. Whew. John jokingly vowed to never leave the house again, although he did say that he considers himself to be lucky having survived his mishaps. Yeah, so next up, Erik Norrie gives John Lyne a good run for his money. He's coming in at number 8. Dubbed America's unluckiest man, Erik has been struck by lightning, bitten by a deadly rattlesnake, punched by monkeys twice, and survived a shark attack. The odds on this kind of misfortune are absolutely insane. The chance of being attacked by a shark alone are 1 in 11.5 million. Erik needed skin grafts to save his damaged leg, but afterwards, he was kind of in good spirits. Unlucky or awesome, you guys decide at number 7. We have the only known meteorite victim, Anne Hodges. Hit by a meteorite, that's gotta be kinda cool. Like if you survive it, I guess. Anne was hit by a space rock at her home in Alabama in 1954. She received a whopping great bruise as the rock tore through her house and hit her on the hip. The rock was still warm from burning through the Earth's atmosphere, which cool. Not only did she get hit though, the rock started a bitter money battle. Meteorites are precious things. First scientists took it to test on it, then her landlord tried to claim ownership of it. In the end she was given it and she hoped to sell it, like a man down the road had when a piece hit his property. She was unable to sell it, suffered a nervous breakdown, and then died in a nursing home aged 52. Eesh. Imagine winning the lottery, then losing the ticket. Well, that's exactly what happened to Martin and Kay Tott at number 6. Martin and Kay Tott won £3 million in the lottery in 2001. The only problem is, they accidentally threw away their ticket. The couple tore their house up looking for the winning ticket, which contained the same numbers that they played every week. In the end, they contacted Camelot, the lottery officiator, who decided that their claim was genuine, but as they had contacted them outside of the allotted time for lost tickets, they could not give the pair their winnings. Harsh. What is worse, Martin sought legal action that cost him his money, his mind, and his wife. Gutted. Coming in at number 5, we have Sara Zelenak. Anyone caught up in a terror attack is extremely unlucky, but Zara, a 21-year-old Australian killed in a terror stabbing in June 2017, was especially unlucky. Not only had Sara moved from Australia to England to become an au pair, she had narrowly escaped an attack months before on Westminster Bridge, and she had tickets to the ill-fated Ariana Grande concert in Manchester, but she decided not to go. On the evening she was killed, she was not planning on going out. She was instead supposed to be babysitting, but then the child's grandmother stepped in at the last minute, meaning that she was able to meet up with her friends in Borough Market. Sadly, she was stabbed when she became separated from her friends. Coming in at number 4, we have Roy Sullivan, who was struck by lightning 7 times. Roy's story is an incredible one, but in the end, a very sad one. Roy was a park ranger for most of his life in Virginia in the United States. Roy was first struck by lightning in a crazy storm in 1942 when he was just 30 years old. He was hiding out from a storm in a fire tower that was struck and ignited. He escaped, but he was then struck in the leg. He was again struck by lightning in 1969 while he was in his truck. Then again he was struck in 1970 in his front yard, in 1972 in a ranger station, in 1973 he was struck on patrol in a park, in 1976 he was just out in the open, and in 1977 he was struck while he was out fishing. Like, what on earth? He even said that he thought that clouds would often follow him. His wife was also struck once. The chance of being hit by lightning are 1 in 10,000, but I can't even calculate what the odds are of being hit 7 times over and surviving. Apparently, it is 1 in 22 septillion, which is a number I can't even imagine, let alone write. Sadly, in the end, he killed himself aged 71. Coming into number 3, we have Melanie Martinez. Melanie may well be one of the unluckiest women in America. The Louisiana resident was strongly considering moving after her 5th house was razed by a storm. She lost her first house in 1965 during Hurricane Betsy, her second in 1985 during Hurricane Juan. Then a third was lost to George in 1998 and a 4th lost to Katrina in 2005. TV show's Hideous Houses decided to offer Melanie a house makeover, spending $20,000 as a gesture of goodwill to a woman who had lost her home 4 times over. Then, just months later, Hurricane Isaac came through and destroyed her 5th home along with all of the hard work the TV show had put in. Luckily, she was rescued from the roof of her house with her family and her 3 dogs. Coming in at number 2, we have the Flanagan family. Initially considered lucky, 14-year-old Steve was at a neighbor's house when Pan Am Flight 103 smashed into his house, killing his parents and his sisters just 4 days before Christmas. The incident happened that night when terrorists blew up a bomb on a plane flying over Lockerbie in Scotland. It ended up being the demise of the whole family. Stephen's brother David had already left home when his family were killed. 5 years almost to the day after the tragedy, David frittered away his compensation money and died of a drugs overdose in Thailand. After trying to get his life together, Stephen went out for a drink with friends 12 years after the tragedy, and after the pub, he was run over by a train. My goodness, so 3 members of the family killed by a plane, 1 killed by a drugs overdose, and 1 hit by a train. Like, what are the odds? Finally, the horrors of the Lockerbie bombings had done with this family. Finally, coming in at number 1, this guy was so unlucky, his death came by total bad luck, and it started a war that killed 75 million people. That is one spell of misfortune. That's right, coming in at number 1, we have Archduke Franz Ferdinand. Franz Ferdinand of Austria had an unfortunate string of luck prior to his death. A lot of his family members died untimely deaths, including his cousin who committed suicide and his father who died of typhoid. Ferdinand was in Sarajevo at a tense time, and the Black Hand Gang attempted to kill him by throwing a grenade at his car. Ferdinand and his wife were unharmed, but were later killed when their driver did a U-turn near a cafe. Now, in this cafe was sitting a defeated member of the gang who originally tried to kill him, who was having a coffee and consoling himself. He then saw the car do a U-turn, he seized his second chance and shot Ferdinand and his wife, which is very unlucky. But unluckier still, it resulted in Austria declaring war on Serbia, which then led to other nations declaring war and beginning the first ever World War. Goodness. So this was a whole bunch of crazy tales for you. This was the top 10 unluckiest people of all time. Do you consider yourself to be lucky or unlucky? Let me know in the comment section down below. For now, I'm Rebecca Felgate. If you like this video, make sure you give it a good thumbs up, share it with a friend, and stay subscribed for more top 10 videos. If you guys like this video, why not watch our top 10 people who survived the impossible and our top 10 luckiest people alive. See you next time.